now. Traffic collision near west now. Person's trapped. Sheriff on scene.
Golf star Tiger Woods in the hospital right now after a rollover crash in LA County. The collision leaving him with leg injuries, what authorities are ruling out. Plus, here at home, San Diego Unified is preparing to get back to in-person learning when students are expected to return to the classroom. Plus, Governor Newsom signed off on a $7.6 billion relief package today. Who will qualify for the stimulus payments?
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
We begin with breaking news of a crash involving Tiger Woods. This is video of the scene where his vehicle landed in a rollover crash this morning. Deputies say the golf pro suffered injuries to both his legs. He was taken to the hospital. About an hour ago, emergency crews finally removed Woods' vehicle from the site. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt. At the same time, deputies and fire officials held a news conference, and the deputy who first arrived on the scene talked about what happened when he got there.
When I arrived on the scene, Mr. Woods was seated in the driver's seat. I made contact with him, and I ensured that he was able to speak to me. At that time, he seemed that as though he was still calm and lucid. I made the determination that it would be safer to wait for LA County Fire to help remove him instead of trying to remove him myself. I kept Mr. Woods calm until LA County Fire arrived on scene.
What did you do to keep him calm, Deputy?
I spoke to him. I asked.
Conversation. Can you share it with us, please?
I asked him what his name was. He told me his name was Tiger, and at that moment I immediately recognized him. I asked him if he knew where he was, what time of day, just to make sure he was oriented. He seemed as though he was lucid and calm.
The deputy said his body camera was on when he arrived. Deputies also say there are no signs that Wood was impaired and he was wearing a seatbelt. Authorities say that stretch of road is known for accidents. This is not the first time that Woods has been in a high-profile car accident. He crashed his SUV in 2009 at his home in Florida, and in 2017 he was arrested for DUI after officers found him passed out behind the wheel of his car. Woods said in a statement that he had an unexpected reaction to prescribed medications and that alcohol was not involved. You can keep track of the new developments on this story with our ABC 10 News mobile app. There is a free version in the App Store. We'll also have continued coverage on ABC 10 News at 5 o'clock. And just hours after San Diego Unified announced a target date for reopening, parents are holding a rally outside the district offices. This is a live look. School leaders say that students will be back in class after spring break on April 12th. But these parents say that is not soon enough. Here's ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco with the deal that will impact more than 100,000 students.
It has been nearly a year since most San Diego Unified students have stepped foot in a classroom. Tuesday morning, the district announced it is ready to reopen in-person learning for all grades by mid-April. Parent Gina Smith says it's a good start, but long overdue.
In reality, they could open as early as tomorrow, according to CDPH and CDC guidelines.
The district and the teachers' union reached a deal Monday night. Teachers will be fully vaccinated before returning to the classroom April 5th. Students will return the following week. The plan is contingent upon COVID-19 case rates continuing to fall until the county is out of the most restrictive purple tier.
We've never agreed with this sort of idea that it's just too hard, to get our educators vaccinated. We think that we can do it.
Matthew Schneck teaches social studies at East Village High School. He isn't willing to return to the classroom without the vaccine.
Teachers are scared of getting this virus, of affecting their families. And I think what we're asking for is completely reasonable.
Students will be on a hybrid schedule to maintain social distancing.
You have kids that can't really work in groups. They can't really do labs. They kind of have to stay in their desks for the most part until it's time to exit the room.
Smith says she hasn't ruled out private school.
We want our kids back in school full time.
I would love to return to in-person instruction where we can teach like kids and parents expect us to. I think we're a long ways off.
Parents who don't feel comfortable sending their kids back in April can continue with virtual learning. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
The county says teachers may be able to start getting vaccinated as early as Monday. The board will meet at 5 o'clock to talk about the reopening plan, and we'll let you know what happens.
Those that have been left behind in that federal stimulus, California is not going to leave you behind.
Today, Governor Newsom signed off on a state stimulus package. It will send money directly to low-income Californians, including those left out of receiving the federal stimulus checks. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala explains who qualifies for these $600 payments.
Tuesday, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a $7.6 billion coronavirus relief package, including much-needed $600 payments to about 5.7 million people and $2 billion in grants set aside for small businesses.
It's been hard.
Norma Camero lost her husband to COVID-19 in January, a difficult battle made worse with the lack of income as he was the sole provider for her family. Norma didn't qualify to receive the federal stimulus checks.
Too many people are without a work and they don't have any income like me right now.
Those that have been left behind in that federal stimulus, California is not going to leave you behind.
So who will get the $600 checks? Those with incomes below $30,000, households receiving the California Earned Income Tax Credit for 2020. Taxpayers with individual tax identification numbers, or ITINs, who didn't receive federal stimulus checks like Norma, and households with ITINs and income below $75,000. ITIN taxpayers who also qualify for the California Earned Income Tax Credit will receive a total of $1,200. People will get the payments shortly after filing their 2020 tax returns. In addition to that, households enrolled in the CalWorks program, recipients of SSI and SSP, and Cash Assistance Program for Immigrants recipients will all receive a one-time $600 payment. The CalWorks household payments are expected by mid-April. Timing for the other grants is currently under discussion. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Coming up at 5, we'll take a closer look at how this relief package benefits small businesses. The vaccination super station at Petco Park reopened today. This comes after a vaccine shipment delay forced it to close twice within the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, UC San Diego says it received 10,000 doses, sent half to Petco Park to get that site running again. And now the push begins to catch up on missed appointments. The CDC recommends getting the second shot 21 to 28 days after the first, depending on which vaccine you got, Pfizer or Moderna, but says that it can be as late as 42 days. UCSD says that people who are closest to the end of that 42-day interval get priority for their appointments. And the number of weekly vaccines sent to states will increase again. Today, the White House announced that states will get an extra 1 million doses starting next week for a total of 14.5 million doses. Meantime, Pfizer and Moderna have pledged to have a combined 220 million doses available for shipment. And Johnson & Johnson, which has not yet been authorized by the U.S., has pledged to also have 20 million doses available by the end of March.
Leaders of pharmaceutical companies producing COVID vaccines answered questions from Congress today. One of the bigger questions was whether they're ready to amp up production if there's a surge in the need for vaccines.
We have worked already to partner with two of the largest manufacturers of pharmaceuticals in the world, a company called Lonza, and establish production both domestically and internationally at their facility in Switzerland.
There were also questions about whether drug companies are ready to make changes so the vaccine can adapt to COVID variants. Novavax says that's possible.